Yeah, so I can play with these values just to see how it bounces. I mean, it limits the PCG. I mean, the grass in this case. It limits the area for that. So I think I'm gonna go down to 3. Probably 2 and 2. Okay, let's leave it like that. But it's really patchy, so we need to increase our surface sampler. And let's see the transform point as well. I think I'm going to increase that to 0.8 and 1.2. So I got more geometry to play with. It's quite tall, so we can move the landscape down in a bit. It's looking better. Maybe reducing this won't affect much. Maybe point extend, and that is way further, but my computer is hanging on, but just be careful when you play with these values here. I think I'm gonna leave it at 7 and then change the bounce modifier to maybe 5. No, it's too much. 3. Let's see if we can get away with it. I think we can. Then I'm gonna select my landscape. I don't think I need to do much in here, but I'm just gonna leave it open on the other screen just so it isn't there in case we need it. So I can move this here, duplicate that, just to create like some stone path for our garden. Let's see how this looks from the inside. It's not too bad. Maybe create another one there and then move them closer. Not that close, see. Yeah, now I think because of the bounce, it's best if we just separate them a tiny bit. And this one there, we can even give it a little bit of rotation just to, so it's not look the same. Okay, I'm gonna select my landscape, and I think it's -10 we set, so let's see -20. Yeah, I think -20 is a good value for this, but we also need to bring down all these steps. Just select them and then bring it down. Maybe not that much. Just about there. Or we can even move this down a tiny bit, -30. It's alright there. Just so it's not that noticeable, those patches. Something like that. Let's see if some with some variation it does a better work. Yeah, I think I can live with this. I'm gonna pick one of those walls here, and then let's see how this looks with this one. Assign. Select all of them and then place it here. Maybe needs to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to duplicate this and then call this paving stone path, and I can move it into stone. So selecting all of that again, I just assign this material, and then I make it a little bit darker. So go like that. Probably is catching too much light, so I can even play with the specularity. And yeah, maybe from base color override. Actually, I just realized that this wall has a high specularity. So no, we don't want this to be that high. 0.5 is good value. Okay, we got some stones there. I mean, you can bring like some of your stone as well, or even bring it from Megascans and put it there. It's prettier with better textures, but for this exercise, we're just gonna leave it like that. So it is that easy to work with PCG. Sometimes it gets a little bit funny, because it's still work in progress, but I think I prefer, just for this type of project, to work with this PCG. What else we need to do? We need to add some accessories to this. So first thing I'm going to do is to bring some textures for our art, for our pictures here. So I got these two from this website, Unsplash. So they are like royalty free, and I'm gonna create two materials. So go to Content Browser 2, go into walls. I'm gonna duplicate this and call this artwork maybe, and I'm gonna assign to that one there. I don't need this to be any color, not that I think about, not that I can think of. And I can leave the normal as it is and the roughness just for the minute. So let's see which one looks better there. But because we increase the size of this, it's going to be tiled like that. And we can, oh, actually the tiling is here, which, yeah. Oh, let me see if, okay, see, so as you can see here, the way the tiling work is gets stretched, the whole picture, the texture gets stretched if I resize this. To avoid that, I mean, just so you don't need to do the UV map, you can use waterline texture. And in here, let's maybe 100, no, 150, 200, 250. Let's see if I can offset this. Now that's on the X, I'm on the Y, so something like and on the Z. I'm seeing some what's it called, some seams there, so it's not what I need. As you can see, the texture is not being stretched at that point. And on the Z as well, it's not a stretch. But I didn't check if this was a square. And I didn't. So this one is not a good texture. And because it's not going to have any mid mat. So it needs to be 2 by 2, 1 by 1, like a square texture to have to take advantage of this. In this case, it's alright, but I always recommend going to like Photoshop or Affinity Photo or any software and then just resize it to 101. So I'm not gonna use waterline texture for this case, but that is the reason that it wasn't working properly. So my texture is already like a landscape. So I don't even know. So it's 5,200 by 3,400. So it's huge. And again, for this project, I'm gonna leave it like that. But in other occasion, if it's bigger, I just go back and do a resize of that. So I got that picture there. Now we can just duplicate this material, apply to that one, and then change the texture. Oh, not that one, sorry. This material, and this one here, artwork 1. And again, I can just, so because it's 101, I can play with this, but I can also offset if I need it. So the same thing, it's just like a landscape picture, the size of it. So I'm gonna save all of that. I think we got some nice picture there. There's some stretching here. So even for this one, if I do the waterline texture, let's see how it looks. Yeah, it has less of that. It doesn't stretch as much. But it is stretched in that direction. So yeah, not gonna work with this one. Just gonna go back into this, and I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference. I can even just resize this a tiny bit so it is not as noticeable if we have a shot like that. Well, that is gonna bother me, so probably I should use the waterline texture size, and then so 100, 350, now 100, 200, and an offset maybe on the X. Something like that. Okay, so we got some color there. Don't know if I even prefer the other artwork to this one. This one is quite, it's not as impacting as that one. So something we can do is just to have another version of this, duplicate, and then in that case I can change the color tint. So for example, I can increase the brightness, contrast, saturation. I can just go on the opposite direction and maybe do something funny there. Maybe it's too freaky, that one. Let's see. Now probably, if I were too picky, I would pick another texture for my project, but I think I'm gonna leave it like that. So I got my reference there, just gonna move it some point like that. So what else do we need to do? We can work on the lighting and on our environment. So let me just bring this into my static mesh is already there. This one, I can set this for landscape. And it goes into static meshes. This one can go into cameras. These are all PCG, so we can bring all of these actors into one folder called landscape. It differs from the static mesh one. Oh, we need to bring some accessories. Sorry, I just forgot that. So going to bridge. Before we start working on the lighting, I can add these two. They are always nice. I can add that in. I can even add this candle. Don't need any fruit. I can look for more of accessories. Let's see what we can find. Collections, ArcViz, 3D. So these are just fruit and so should we have some sort of plant in there just to bring it inside. Let's see how a plant looks in there. So I go into plants. Let's see, a cat. Is it cat palm? Nothing. It's Alexandra palm. Yeah, let's see how they look in there. Maybe if I resize this a tiny bit. I can even make a group of these, so right click and then group. or Control G. And this is gonna be, let me name it. Oh, I can't rename that, so it's fine. I'm just gonna leave it like that. What did I bring all of this stuff? Let me add this clay vase, and then bring this. Oh, it's minimum. Really small. So I'm gonna pick this, bring it up, maybe there and there. I think it's going into the wall a tiny bit, so yeah, probably this needs to be smaller. Or even, is there any pot that I can use? This one, it seems a little bit too big for this plant, so I'm gonna resize this. Something like that. Press N to just snap there. Then bring this down. Maybe decrease the size of that. Then I'm gonna put this as white wood. So white wood. Yeah, it's much better. Let's see if two of them looks nice. So let's rotate that. Move this a little bit there and there. Yeah, we can even put a bench there, but yeah, I think this too looks nice there. Okay, now let's bring some of that, the decorative statues. We can see where they can fit nicely. And there is no collision. I'm gonna add a quick collision to this, just so it helps with snapping. Let's see. It didn't matter much then. So something like that. If I increase the size. Maybe it's too big. Okay, what else we can add here? We can add the candle. I don't know if I brought the candle in. Let's see, local. Oh, I didn't bring that in. Well, in this case, the other project we did, so I can add that in as well. Like, I think I'm gonna put it in here actually. Let's see, it's snapping to the floor, so I need to add a collision there, but I think I can get away with just resizing this. Resize it there and then just place a little bit, maybe more onto the edge. Let me just hide my human. I don't need this. Actually, I can even delete this. I mean, the scale is all fine. This one is going to be hidden in game. So if I press G, it's there, but if I'm in game mode or cinematics, it's going to be hidden. And so I can create as many as I need. Just so it serves me as reference for the exposure. Okay, what else can we find on Quixel Bridge? A wooden bench. Might even add this. And okay, let's look for props. No. So ArcBase 3D, and this is just planters and food. So what is essential? And this is just Scratch and 3D. Oh, there you go. Can have some books if we need. This is like a floral. Wow, I can add that. So just to bring a little bit of life and show that someone actually lived here, not just a show home for people to buy a house. Yeah, I think with a book, maybe another. I'm just gonna add that twice. Can I even download that as well? Decorative, well, I was looking at yeah, no, I think I'm not gonna find much for as a decoration. I probably should have brought some sort of like a magazine, or but we can work with just this. Let's say this is for the lady side. Down there. And did I bring the other book? No, I think I didn't. Gonna add that in, and then where was it? The statues. Hannah in 3D, and how there is much here. Yeah, I can add one of those actually. Let's add this one in on Nanite because probably it's quite heavy, so I'm gonna download that. Yeah, 650 megabytes. And the holder. That is the statue. The white book in here, just the same thing. I need to add some collisions there, but that will sit there perfectly. Maybe bring this closer to the bed and then place this out. Okay, I got a book for her, a book for him, some statues there, and we're gonna bring this statue in, and I can even add this one. I've already got it in place, so I can add that in. I'll resize it. Just to fill the space a little bit more. That's what we're doing here. Decorative handle Roman statue. Probably is huge, so let's see how this brings in. So after this accessories, we're going to work on the lighting and the post process, then add the cameras, create the sequences, render it, and go into DaVinci Resolve. So I'm just gonna skip this because it's taking a little bit longer than... Oh, hold on. It's here. I can just resize this. Put it there. So let's see how this looks when we start playing. How we are outside, there is no collisions there, so actually there is a collision that we created for that. Yeah, it has good frame rate, although I'm using a 3090, the RTX, so it's a good graphics card. I think it's 4 years old already, but it's still a good one. So it's quite nice, and it's a small project, so we can push it in terms of graphics. Sitting in there and looking out there. Right. So as you can see, there are some leakings here, so we might need to bring a also like a block volume. Let's do the ambient light first. So selecting your environment, sun, sky, I'm gonna go all the way up, and I want to match the vegetation here with this one here, because it's easier to do it that way rather than the other way, going to the materials and not matching. I mean, I'm trying to do it for every mesh, so I prefer just to do it with this one. So I'm gonna increase the contrast, so you can see it's greener than it was before, and just I think 1.33 works fine. The same, sort of the same greening. Okay, just so our environment blends a little bit. I think it was 100 initially. I can set this to 1000 just so it extends this. And as I showed you before, you can always play around with this value to offset the ACRI. Let's increase the saturation to 1.1. See what it gets us. So yeah, I think our house, I mean our room can blend with the other ones. Something like a trick that you can do here is to increase your brightness, and because the skylight is capturing real time, it's capturing that backdrop lighting. So you can see if I increase this like 100. It's gonna be ridiculous bright, but I can just leave it like 10 or 5, just so we still have some background there. So I think it's way overexposed, so probably 3 or 2. And let's see how this looks when I apply it. I'll do the post process. That's gonna dictate a little bit, the unbiased render. I can set all of these to accessories, so I'm gonna move them all. Then I'm going to create a folder. This is gonna be called accessories, and then move them into static meshes, so it's cleaner and organized. So I'm gonna go post-process volume all the way down to get to this path tracing. I'm gonna set this to 128, I think, and then activate my denoiser. So let's see how this looks in path tracing. Okay, it's gonna clean the noise out. So I don't know if you can see the. Yeah, it's quite. We can say it can blend. And let's look at our reference here. Just gonna leave this always on top. Let's just go back here. So yeah, probably, I mean, the walls are lighter in here than here, but when I go into lit mode, it's going to be even lighter. So you can see. Let's just modify this material quickly. So walls, simple, and then maybe increase the lighting a little bit here, the brightness. Okay, I think it looks all right. Maybe decrease the exposure, so go here maybe to 5 or 5.5. Let's see what happens if we add a sun. Okay, not much. You can see here the shadows. So increase this to 10. You're gonna see it even more. Yeah, I think it's fine. Let's see if I cycle this to like a night. So if I untick this sky atmosphere, it's gonna change to like a moonlight. And there are some leaking there, as you can see. It's still there, it's just, it needs to, maybe if I go down and in again, or maybe if I just untick that. It's taking some time to process that. So when that happens, I mean, that case there, just hide, for example, one of the meshes, just so it recalculates the lumen thing. Probably some cache that, is it cache or K? I don't even know how that, some cookies in website terms that are not being processed at that time. Okay, so we can add that sun there that we were doing. environment, sun, sky. We can add this in and not get this. We can increase the indirect lighting to 5 maybe, get more light in, and again that happen. And let's see, it's still the thing is my sun that is causing that. But if that happens to you as well, you can also create some sort of shadow box. So I'm gonna move this and resize, and let's see how this. So it's sorted. As you can see, if I hide that, probably it's gonna come back. I see all this leaking there. So you can, I mean, if you're doing like a playthrough of that, you can always resize this a tiny bit and hide that into your mesh. I just need to be careful that it not goes all the way down. So things is fine. This one, it's on the opposite direction. I'm gonna rotate this to 90 and probably do a tiling of 3. Maybe the contrast a bit down to 0033 and save all. Sorry about that. It just crashed for some reason. Probably I was having too many apps open. So let's get back to what we were doing, which is we were working on. Well, I just changed that real quickly, and we were working on our lighting and environment. So. And here I think I can leave it as it is. It's fine. There are some, let's see if the artifacts are there. This, it didn't save some of the things I did here. So let me just bring that back into accessories. And then move that into static meshes. Static meshes there. Okay. So I didn't create, I think. Yeah, I need to create the cube again. I didn't save it when I create that cube, so just gonna do that for my shadow box and then bring it there. I think this side is fine, so just gonna drop that in and pull it up a tiny bit, and we are there. So let's see. I think it has a good. It's well lit. It has a good exposure there, but if for some reason, oh look at that, that might not look good into our render. So let's extend that. That's some of the things that you only catch when you move your camera around. So I'm gonna increase the size of that. And let's see, it's catching everything. Yeah, now it's all the grass is there. And it doesn't look that bad there, so it's not, I don't think it's gonna catch more of that unless we do like a aerial view of this. So we can leave it like that. Okay, so let's bring some spotlights to this area here. You can also, if you're struggling with lighting, you can always, I wouldn't say it's cheating, but it's a nice resource to have when you struggle with lighting, and just to give a little bit of help to the global illumination. So you can bring a red light, just put into your windows. Just bring them in like that. Press more sensor. Something like this, and then you can increase the height of it and the width. This is way too much, so I'm gonna bring it down to 1, maybe 0.5, and you see all these reflections there, they are not gray, so let's bring the specular scale to 0.1 maybe, or let's say 0. Even 0, it's looking all right. I'm gonna bring this to there, maybe 0, 0.1, 0.3, 0.1. Let's see it this way. So let's see without and with, without, with. So you can see some of this sort of noise that we can see in this area, they are getting way better. So it's a nice resource to have. Also, you can, I mean, sometimes I even don't cast shadows, but in this case, it won't look good. But sometimes when you need, like, for a corridor, you can even add, like, not casting shadow and bring down to minus 0.05, and then not casting shadows, even lower. But it still is there affecting the scene. So it's just one tip that you can always use in case you need it. So don't be afraid of, I mean, cheating. And this is not cheating, it's just helping the system to bring more light into the scene. For this case, I think I'm gonna leave it natural. You can also change the temperature, for example, to 4500, and then so you can play always with the temperature. So don't be afraid of using red lights to help you lead the scene. So it's something always to keep in mind. And don't worry, I will do exercises where we will need them properly. So what else do we need to do? The spotlights. So if you go to here, lighting, I go and add a spotlight. You can add it there and there. So go into 0.5, see if this looks better. Okay, yeah, that's nice. I can even reduce. I don't need this to be that big, so probably 350 will do us all right. And yeah, that's starting to to look nice, you can even point to this to your like artwork. So like give it some sort of gallery-ish move to it. So move it, rotate that, and then we can add 2 more to this side. And do the same. Bring it to here and there. I'm gonna do the same here and then rotate on the X. So look at the difference. Without, it's nice as well, it's natural, and with, it just looks fine as well. I can even add one here. Let's see the difference. I think point lights are not that efficient in terms of performance, so that's what I heard. Don't quote me on that, but this is what I have read in some forums and stuff like that. So it seems like I shouldn't be using point light that much. So 0.01, 0.05. And I don't like them, not really. I prefer to work with spotlights or red light. So if in this case, I'm gonna use a spotlight. So it's just gonna bring it there. Bring it down to 0.1. We can play with the outer cone as well. And then maybe 0.05, 0.03, maybe 4,000, 3. Oh, one of those things is my spotlights need to be movable for this case, just so they don't overlap there. We don't need this radius here, we just need this to be small like that, just to affect this area. Maybe up to the floor, let's see how that looks. Yeah, just to bring a little bit more shadows there. We can play with the source radius as well, just to soften that up. This doesn't do much. The source length. Let's see. Not something we need for that. I'm just gonna just to soften the shadows a tiny bit. And I even put it back to 2.02. I'm using these values because my exposure is quite big at the minute, so I need to play with these values, the small values. Like that. Can even reduce this 0.01. Or you can always choose another unit. I mean, if I use lumens, no, actually it's quite similar to, so I'm gonna leave it as candelas. I'm thinking I can even add another. Now let's see how this looks at night, and this is gonna give us our reference. So sky cycle to 1. So we probably need to soften this up. So I'm gonna select from this one to this, just this in the ceiling, probably source radius, now like 10. And I'm gonna increase the indirect lighting intensity to 2. Maybe to 3. If we can bring more light to it. I'm gonna change these to 4,000. Or 375. Just a middle term. I even feeling that we might need some spotlights here. Somewhere along these lines there and there. This one probably doesn't need to be that strong. Then we should bring just another set of those spotlights. So that's also one of the reasons well, it depends on the plan. In the plan, if there is spotlights there, of course I can map them up in Blender or SketchUp or whatever software I use. But if it's just like a free form, I always prefer to bring them in like that. Okay, that is looking good. We can also use an IES. If you go to Advanced, where is that? Light color? No, it's not lighting channel. Oh, that is weird. I just lost the IES. Okay. Here we go. IES texture. If you look for on the internet, like free IES, I think I've got this one, IES library. Then you can always download some of them. You can always support this guy. So for example, if I want this one here, I can download this, bring it to that bedroom exercise. I can set this as IES Vega, I think it's called, then save, then go back here, and then in here we can, I'm just gonna bring it to textures just for the sake of it. So probably I have I always have a folder for IES, so let's do it properly. Import this folder here, and then I can just bring that to there. So let's see if I move this to the wall. Let's see if there is any difference with this one. Let's see, without and with. So yeah, it's nicer to use IES rather than the trick with the cone. So I kind of select all of them and then place this. And you can always place with this intensity here, but don't recommend doing that. Okay, so this is the night version. I can even bring this thing out just to fill that area there. It's not too dark. and maybe this, so there is no more of those dark areas. Let's see if I increase the cone. Now let's see if with a red light if we are better off. Sometimes we are better off using red lights instead of a spotlight. So so I think it's 375. Let me bring this up. This has an AES as well. I don't think I'm gonna be better off with that. So I can even just play around with the barn. Don't need that to be exposed like that, and increase the width. And as you can see, I can see my red light there. I don't want that, so I'm just gonna take off that specular scale. Let's see how this looks. Not a fan, so just gonna leave it like that. It's a nice room though. Wouldn't mind to have one like this. Something I can do here just to bring a little bit more interesting. Just one of this position. But no, I don't think it's going to work for me. The only way is just increasing the cone, but I don't think I'm gonna like that effect. I'm just gonna call this this is gonna be lamp, and this one lamp as well. So the rest are spotlights. Let's see the other cone if 80. No, it's too much. 60, and then radius is 500. Now it's not as interesting as before. Okay, let's go back into our daytime. I'm just gonna add all of this to a lighting folder. Call this lighting. And just gonna leave it there. This structure is a static mesh, so I'm not gonna need this. And this is also as well. And I can call this a shadow box. Let's see. Okay. And this is just artwork. Goes into accessories. Okay, so with this I got landscape done. You can always tweak the landscape if you prefer to bring more stuff. You can add maybe another tree in here if you want, or add like some ground. For example, I don't know if I downloaded this Rocky Forest Pass. Sometimes I just add one of those somewhere like there, and I think it's overexposed in this area. Let's bring one of those in. Yeah, As you can see, my whites are way off. But for our interior, it's looking good, so we're gonna do just the interior, and the landscape is just for filling the scene. So if I go in here and play, as you can see, it's really nice lit in when we play around with this. So I can move and we are fine. Okay, let's set some cameras, sequences, render, and finally DaVinci. Something I just forgot to add was to bring a lamp here, a spotlight there. So I'm gonna do just that. Just gonna bring one of those here and then place it around here just so it fits nicely. Let's see. Well, let's just center that there. Let's see how that looks. It's too much, so 0.1. Maybe I'm just gonna try to fit that into my sphere. And probably I need to extend the other cone. Right there, I think it works. Now probably some 50 should be fine. So let's see, I'm gonna hide. Yeah, it's working. 0.05 and that will do. And I can even change this material there. So let's go into materials, instances, emissive, and then just type. Maybe it's too much for that. Probably 0.1, the intensity. And save. And for this, I'm gonna just change these to light on. So as you can see, it's there. I probably need to change the temperature of that. Let's change that to something like a yellow, more like an orange, and intensity to 0.5. So yeah, it looks really nice. Okay, now I can go finally into the sequences here. I'm gonna create a new sequence. Go into cinematics, level sequence, call this LS camera 1. If you're doing like by bedrooms or by room, sorry, for example, you can have a level sequence, kitchen level sequence, bedroom, bathroom, landscape or outdoors, etc. So I'm gonna save all. I'm gonna open my level sequence and I'm gonna go, I was on default, I'm gonna go into cinematic viewport. I'm gonna add my camera. I'm just gonna get here. And I think I hide this one, so I'm just gonna place it in like that and add a camera here, this cine camera. Just gonna bring this all the way down that way, and this one is fine. I think I can just live with one. Okay, so on my cine camera, I'm gonna change the aperture to 11. I don't want any, I mean the distance, I don't need this to be that long, so I'm just gonna resize this, and that there is your focus, so I'm just gonna leave it like this and take it out. Let's see, on my exposure here, I already changed this a little bit, but you can go into lens, exposures, and then just move it a tiny bit. Probably 5 is a good value that I'm happy with. For this, I'm gonna set this to 90 frames. So it's one, no, it's not frames. Yeah, it's frames. The reason I use 90 is because it's gonna be 3 seconds, and I always work like 3 to 5 seconds for my sequences. So I can set this. Let me see, the position of the camera is good. I can set this to 0, 0, 180 is fine. I can bring my grid just to, let's see where this sits. Just, I think there is a good composition for that. I'm gonna set a transform there, and then I change that to linear, and then if I go to this point 90, I'm just gonna press right click and then move in a tiny bit. If you're going too fast like that, you can always press right click and then decrease the size of the movement speed of your camera by the scroll wheel. So if you go down, it's gonna get slower. So I think something like that should fine. Oh, I didn't create, that's the thing, I didn't create another key frame there. So I'm just gonna bring this like that and then add another one for my transform. Now is, yeah, I think if I click this no looping to looping, I can have like that. Yeah, so it's quite nice. If I go into window and click environment light mixer, I can set, was it this one? I just got confused. A light mixer, this is the one. I can always just hide this and see. So it's gonna go like that. So let's just make sure that now they are enabled. So probably they are gonna be enabled. I need to select them all and go into rendering and actor hidden in game if I don't want them to be on. And probably I need to change also the material here. So yeah, I think with the lighting it looks better. I might need to increase the exposure. So I'm just gonna unhide them. Yeah, I think it looks way better with the lighting on. But it's preference. You can also render without the lighting on. It's up to you. So that is done for this sequence there. So if you see this, we can always, just let me uncheck that. Go into post-process volume, and in here, reflections and global illumination, we can set this to improve our lighting quality. We might even don't need this to be that high, so maybe 5,000 is gonna be good. In here we can just crank this up all the way up, or you can even test, for example, if 4 or 8 works best, but always look into your frames per second, see if that is it's all right. But let's see, maybe crank that up to 4. So I'm gonna render it and see if that happens there. So at this point here, just gonna increase the quality of the reflections to 4. This one should be to hit lighting. And bounces, let's do 3. So I'm gonna do a quick render of that, and let's see if this still happens. We might be able to get away with, not get away, but maybe when add some console variables, we can get rid of those, like a high resolution render. So I'm gonna go here and select Windows, Cinematics, Movie Render Queue, add one here, and then go into Unsafe Configurations. Delete this JPEG. I prefer to work with PNG for this case. If I got the space, I do EXR, but I'm not gonna do that for this one. So gonna add anti-aliasing. This one to probably 16. 16 should be fine, and then override this to none. My output is gonna be this ×2 and this ×2, so it's 4K. Output frame, actually I think I did this in 20, was it 30 frames per second, or it was 30 frames per second, so it's fine. If you want 24, you can change it there on the sequences. Here it's 24. I'm gonna leave like 30 frames, it's fine. I'm gonna add some console variables, and we did this on the other exercise, the Moore house. I need to add, I think there are 12. And you can find them in here. High things quality. It was this one. Movie render queue settings preference. No, it was high quality or cinematic rendering image quality. In here, don't worry, I said I think it was on all the documentation. I found the link and then send it to you. I know it was somewhere with the ArcViz. It was showing high quality render, but I leave the link when I find it. I'm just gonna copy paste what I've got from my other from my notes here. This one here. Or I can even leave it in the comment below, and it's gonna be easier. Just copy that. This one, as well. This is another one. And I need to change this value as well. Okay, nanite mode. This is just to pump up the system and make it as much as high quality as possible. So this is 5, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, then 1, and then 0. I can accept this, I can save this. Let's see if is there anything missing. Probably games overrides. It's always good to have that in there. Where it is here. So it's always nice to have that there. Then I'm gonna save this so I can use it over and over again. So this is a MRQ PNG 4K. Okay, I'm gonna skip the video when this is done and we can check if our render is doing well. So this is gonna compile some shaders. I'm gonna bring it into DaVinci and see if it works properly. So something I noticed, I did the render and then I just stopped that and I saw that there is some flickering there, which I don't want, of course, in my scene. And I just discovered that it was because my background, the brightness is too, I mean, the emissive, this is basically an emissive material. And my skylight is capturing that emissive materials and its color. But for example, if I did an uncheck HDRI and then check, for example, the sun, so this is like basic sun sky, that flickering is no longer there. So definitely it was an issue with the HDRI. So I'm gonna go back into the HDRI and playing with this value here. For example, if I bring it down to 0.4, so the flickering is gone. Well, there is some there, but it's mostly gone. And instead, I can just increase the skylight to a bigger value, to 4. Let's see, 10. Maybe 10 is too much. Or maybe it's not too much if I reduce the exposure compensation to 4 to 4.5. No, I think I prefer a lesser value for this the skylight, so I'm gonna add 5. And for my camera, and the exposure is gonna be 5 as well. So yeah, it's a tiny bit. I don't know if I can see it anymore. I'm just gonna head out of this. My post-process volume, it's maybe the exposure is too high, so probably gonna reduce it back. And let me see if I can see any flickering. No, I think it's mostly gone. I think we've done well on that. Also, I added another variable here. Don't worry, I'm gonna give you this when it's done. This R Shadow Virtual Max Physical Page. I've read that it helps with any flickering. So let's see if I can see any change in here. And what about if I do the test with my brightness again? Okay. Maybe if I go back into this, it helped, but it is still there. I can see it. So let's better keep this to value 0.4 for that skylight, for that background HDRI image, and then just work with our skylight. Okay, I can set this to render, or let's place all our cameras and then we can just play with from there. Let's increase this to 5. This was 5. My camera is gonna be 6 of 5.5. 5. Let's bring my exposure reference there. It's a little bit dark, so maybe 5.2. Either way, we can always change we can always play with the curve on DaVinci Resolve. So a value of that should be fine. Okay, let's do another sequence. Let's bring this in. I've just duplicated the camera, and then I'm just going to duplicate the sequence as well. I'm gonna open it. Hopefully it doesn't crash anymore. Then add my camera number 2. I'm gonna pilot that camera firstly. So we can do one going all the way up, something like that. Let's see. Transform. Just gonna make it linear. Then move all the way to 90, and then let's bring our camera up like that with E, and I'm just tilting my camera. Then another keyframe there. Maybe it's too fast. So with this selected, let's see, maybe to this point is fine. So I can add another transform here, then delete this one, and then let's see if that is slower. Yeah, it's maybe it's not as slow as my other one. So I can play with the location, just bring my set, which is this one. Oh, if that happens, just Control Z, and then with this one selected, Then bring it up a tiny bit and see. Yeah, I think that is a nice shot. So I'm gonna duplicate this, duplicate the camera as well, edit, duplicate. I'm gonna go and pick my camera 3 and then maybe some. No, should we focus on? Well, let's see. Maybe a tilt like that, just to bring some variation. Okay, I'm just gonna tilt this. Sorry, it's my keyboard. Let's see on 0 and minus 90 here, just so it's probably -1 on Y, and we are done with that one. I can delete all these cuts, I don't need them, and add my camera 3. Then transform again, set to linear, then move all the way to then I'm gonna press right click and move on A. Maybe it's here. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think it's fine like that. Okay, just duplicate another one. Let's create another sequence, now focusing on our chair. So it's gonna be something like maybe a rotation to this point. So facing the chair like that. I'm gonna delete all of this. Bring my 4 camera. Press transform. Then linear, and then just gonna press right click. Turn my camera a little bit like that. And then moved, oh no, I should have moved my time to that point. So let's see how this looks, that position. Maybe I need to bring it to, I'm just gonna delete this on these two, and maybe I'm gonna focus more like this. Transform, then linear, then move these to the end, and then to that point there. Yeah, the only thing I don't like is that it's cutting my the legs of the chair, but probably maybe I can just do a enable look at tracking, and then this look at tracking is also really nice. Then I can just, this is on the X, and then Y. You can also set an actor to track to this value here. So for example, if I move, I put it this here, a keyframe, then move all the way to 90, and then move the camera, maybe it's here, and then place another one. Let's see how this behaves. Way better. I might even change the focus of the camera, just tilt it a little bit down. Now probably up. This one here. Yeah, so it's smoother. Then just make sure that this is, just enable that, and then we can do that animation there. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do 2 more. So it's a video of 18 seconds, and we can just finish with DaVinci Resolve. So I'm gonna select this. I can change the focal length to, let's try 35. And let's see if I can do some detailing here. I'm gonna drop the manual focus to this point there, and I'm gonna decrease this to 2.5. It should be fine. Just to give a little bit of, just to show some of this detail here of the leather. So in here, so see, there is some nice detail there for the leather. So about 50 centimeters at this position here, 183, 59, 58. I'm gonna delete this, don't need my camera 4, I need my camera 5. Then gonna open the transform location, and I'm just gonna go on the Z axis, which is this one here. Same again, linear, then go up, so I can just change the value on my Z. Goes this way up to there, and set that. Maybe it's too quick, so gonna jump into next key and then put this down there. And I can, in here, for example, I can set a key for my focus distance. Let's do that, a linear. Or maybe I move it here like 15. And then when it goes here, it starts focusing the bags, just at the 50. Let's see, yeah. Oh, I didn't create the key for that. So I need to go back to here, to where it was. Then at 55, I create another key, and that key is the one that is gonna go to the back. Focus distance, yeah. I can also set this distance, so maybe it's easier to just work with it, just to help us visualize. So what happened here, why this is okay, and here, okay, so for some reason I didn't change it there, so I can even move this a tiny bit there, and I think we are done. Probably should be a little bit slower, so we can reduce this to maybe there. If I go to next key, yeah, just a quick sort of focus. Okay, and now I can add another one. Let me just get out that just in case. And for this, camera 6. I'm just gonna go and finish with this paints in there. 0, 0. Then go here. I can delete this. Add this camera and another transform there. And then to the end, I'm just gonna press right click and then move on S. To this point here. Let's see. Okay, maybe I should increase the focal length of this. 28, and then when it goes like that. Yeah, I think I'm happy with all of it. We got 6, which is plenty. I'm gonna save all, and I'm going to render all of this in here. So I'm gonna camera 2, 3, 4, all my level sequence. So when this is done, I'm gonna jump back into DaVinci. We can do the camera shake in the DaVinci, and for the next couple of videos, at least for the next exercise, we'll do the camera shake here in Unreal. So see you in a bit. All right, so this is done, and I can go here and search for all my level sequences are here on. Well, this guy's my Unreal projects, bedroom exercise, save, and movie renders. So I can select all of them, Control A, and I'm gonna move them into DaVinci Resolve. I already opened this. Oh, okay, there you go. And I brought one already here, just when I was doing some testings. I can even I mean, let's delete that and bring that again. But first, I'm gonna go and set my project setting to 30 frames per second. I'm gonna save this. Yeah. Okay, with all selected, I'm just gonna drag them in, and I've got my sequence all nicely done. If for some reason it doesn't import like this, you can always go here and no, it's in here, and click these points here, and then frame display mode as sequence. Okay, I can bring them in all together, and then let's play that. Yeah, so nice transition there. So it's quite a short video, but I mean, 18 seconds, it's quite good to just for this exercise, and we can always add more and more, but 6 sequences for one room is more than enough. I also got some just let me bring this from my other screen. I download this, where was it called? Why is this like this? That open that. I downloaded a song here from, I think this one, La Nia Kia. I just downloaded this. I'm gonna set this for you to listen. Let's see. If I go here, that is the song I'm gonna use for this video. Don't worry, I leave the link there if you want to use the same. So I'm gonna import that, and I brought that into here, my desktop. So I'm just gonna drag this in, and then I'm gonna play with my video. Maybe I can even just move this a tiny bit, and let's see if the beats goes with the video. Maybe a tiny bit more, and if I increase, I can just search for those beats. And then is that there. So let's see if this can. Well, I think it's not gonna match much, but I thought it would do. Okay, gonna do. I think I quite like how this ends here. So I can just start from there. Now I think I need to bring it up a tiny bit there. do that there. And I can just fade this. 60 frames fade. And this is also gonna fade. If I select that, maybe 14-second fade, and this, gonna select this and add a frame, dissolve that, maybe 14. And I think this dissolve here wasn't that great. Maybe if I extend this to 1 second and then start fading all the way there. I like it. I like how it looks. And now we can just go and do the editing. You can also do some, I mean, if you want to add frames to it, make it look more cinematic, you can crop this, for example, on the top. Let's say 200. And then 200 down. But it's gonna crop some. So if you want to crop your video, best thing to do is to go back to Unreal. And then on your cameras, you can crop this. Let's say it's to 39. Now you can, when you go into DaVinci, we can crop this. We can just adjust our cameras accordingly and crop this with this some bars. I quite like the first one. This one, I don't know, this one is alright, but this one definitely is not great. So I'm just not gonna crop this. Yeah, that was my only issue, like with the chat. Everything else was looking great. I'm quite digging the cropping, so I think I'm gonna leave it that. It's looking good. Without width. think I'm gonna leave it like that. And let's see. Now we can edit all these shots. I can start using this one here, and then we can just do like a curve. Maybe bring this or highlight a little bit down. What about a contrast here? Just play just with the value that you think that it looks good. So not that much. So all the way here. And in the center. Okay, now we can add some effects. I'm using the pay version of this. I think it's 350 or 400. Don't know if in dollars is 400, but I think in pounds I pay 400, and yeah, it's worth every penny. So, but I don't know on the free versions how they are in terms of this effect. So I always add a glow to this, or sometimes halation or light rays. I think I use lens flares sometimes. It depends on the project. So in the settings, I just use the blend and see where that comes from. Then the spread, I just like to play with the extremes and see where is the best effect. Let's see the gain. Too much, I think I can control this global here. And I'm gonna play. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be happy with that one. So just move the blend to 0.67. It's gonna be fine. What else? I'm always start from this top here, so I'm not gonna use any of this. No, on the beauty phase, no, not gonna need that. So here, noise reduction. No, I don't need. I need to add noise. Don't need to reduce. So sharpen. I always bring a little bit of sharpness to this, and then again I just blend this. Maybe 0.3. It's gonna be fine for this case. So just gonna drag all the way up. That's too much. So 0.3. You can always play with these values, but I think for this exercise it's gonna be fine. Okay, on resolve style, I don't need any of that. I'm gonna do my own vignette with a mask. Motion blur, I don't need any of that. I need a noise, but I think I'm gonna add this at the end. And what is this? I've got the camera shake here as well. So let's add one of those. So Alt S, then I'm gonna go into here, this window, select this, and then mask. And I'm gonna drag this all the way like that, and maybe resize this. Not this, sorry, this. Just a little bit of fade, fall off there. Okay, I'm going, so remember to select that, and I'm just gonna go into my curve and then bring this down. that is too much, so just gonna go back and maybe increase this, and then just maybe fall off like that. Let's go back and see the effect. Yeah, I think it looks nice. I need to go back to the other one. If you click here, you can always loop that sequence. Okay, that done. I'm gonna add that camera shake just to give a little bit of effect there. Let's see how this is gonna be like I'm running on that. So no motion scale. Or can I play with the global? Let's see. Now if I do one and then let's bring this. Oh, terrible. Now, so motion scale, I think 0.1 was a value that we use on the other one. It's just tiny bit there. Okay. And then a noise or a film grain here. Just to finish this off, I can only select my grain only, and then grain side. Maybe I'm just gonna reduce this. Then let's see it. And I'm gonna just all the way up. Let's see where I can. Yeah, it's there. It's just a tiny bit of grain there. Okay, I think we can work with this. And now we can just copy, select all of them and paste. And let me see if we need to do some adjustments here. So in terms of color, it looks all right. Maybe a little bit of contrast to this point here. Glow. Does it need more or less? Probably less. Sharper is fine. This looks fine there. And then the camera shake and grain. For this one, the same thing. Let's just adjust. Maybe increase the highlights a tiny bit. Let's see. Now this needs to go down and this down. Same thing. I don't think I'm gonna need much glow here. So I can even just add it like 0.3. It's gonna be fine. So here, now I need to see if we go closed. It was no good at that point, so I need to reduce my highlight. There I can just drag this a tiny bit and let's bring a little bit of contrast. On the glow, I think I'm good on that glow. Actually, it's quite nice. Let's offset this a tiny bit. Then this chair here, this focus point looks good. Let's bring this down a tiny bit, a little bit of contrast. And I didn't even play with the temperature, so I think it's fine. I quite like this. And this is my final shot. This here. And I think we are done with all of those images. So you can see, you can just copy paste the same parameters and just tweak things like color and the highlights. Just the first one. You can even label this to color and lighting. And lighting. I think it changed to Portuguese. Yeah, on the sound, I think it's fine. Don't need to mess much on that. So I select this master. I'm gonna save this into. I can save onto my bedroom folder, bedroom exercise, then call this bedroom exercise exercise video. And yeah, this is all good. QuickTime now. I'm gonna go with MP4. You can restrict this, but I'm just gonna leave it as like that. On the color space tag, I think I use gamma, I think 709 for this, and then P3 DCI. Well, it depends also on your monitor, so that is gonna depend on that, on your monitor and how you render the colors. But I think you can also leave it as a same as projects as we had, and that's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna render this, and well, I hope you like this video. It was like a complete from Blender to Unreal, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. I promise it won't be as long. At least it's not going to be a 9-hour one. And yeah, just a few exercises that we can do here and there, improve our template and keep improving on this. I'm also improving in many aspects, so I always learn new things every day. So that's it for today. Take care, keep creating amazing stuff, and see you soon.